Hello. I see you've come back to watch 5 games 5 minutes from acornelectron.co.uk. Imogen's a great game for the Electron. Each level is solved by pure logic and it has animation that was well ahead of its time. You are Imogen, a wizard who can transform into a monkey and a cat, and back to a wizard again. You can't die, and you start with 150 transformations and the perilous mission to regain control of your fevered mind by completing 16 puzzles. Each is loaded in when you complete the previous one, so make sure you've got a disk-based version of the game so you don't have to wait between levels. The monkey can climb ropes, which the wizard and the cat can't, but the cat can jump further than either of them. The wizard is the only one that can use anything that you find. In level 3 you'll also briefly become a flying duck too. Although every level has only about 3 or 4 screens, each also has a completely different theme, with its own unique characters to avoid and puzzles to solve. Frankly, this game is a work of art, and anyone who misses it does so at their own peril. EWGEEBEZ was actually released as a BBC Micro-only game, but it works on the Electron too, so few of you may have seen it until now. It's an overhead maze game where you control a spaceship with an inexhaustible supply of bullets. You roam around looking for 12 power crystals and attempting to avoid or shoot alien creatures that teleport in. Neither avoiding nor shooting them is very difficult. In addition, there is more extreme types of foes. There are expanding and retracting horizontal creatures, some vertical creatures, and what look like mutant pinball machines. Oh, and the maze also has one-way sections, meaning you'll have to make a map as you explore. If you go through a one-way section and there's no way back, you'll have to start all over again. There's nothing really impressive about this game. It looks a bit washed out and the characters are nothing to write home about. That said, if you like map making, you might be tempted to give it a shot. EType was designed by Gordon Key to fill a gap in the Electron market. Before EType existed, there were no perspective racing games that included bends in the road. The good news is that EType managed to include these bends, and obstacles and other cars, and even a 5-gear manual transmission, which takes considerable skill to master. The bad news is that a good game did not result. What went wrong? Well, you only have to take one look at this game to realise that the large car sprite completely obscures your view of what's ahead. I instinctively play this game craning my neck upwards to try and see over the top of the sprite, as will you. It's the equivalent of trying to drive a car with reverse donut vision. You can see everywhere apart from directly in front of you, which is of course the most important. If you're desperate for a racing game, then EType might be worth a punt. But don't say you weren't warned. Many of the better Acorn Electron games were actually created, or converted, by the same talented programmers. The Last Ninja, converted by Peter Scott, is a conversion of the popular Commodore 64 game. In it you play Ark Makumi, who must battle through the 6 lands of Fen Island to recover the Koga Scrolls. Considering the whole of The Last Ninja involves fighting other ninjas, I've never really understood why you're the last one. However, that aside, The Last Ninja is a breath of fresh air amongst the countless graphic adventures that exist for the Electron. To begin with, it's in 3D. On top of that, the graphics are great, and they're different on every level. Movement's also fluid, and the other ninjas are tough, but not too tough. Once you've collected the smoke bomb and the Shrike stars, they're also easily dealt with. Little puzzles need to be solved to make it through the lands, though, truth be told, none of them are very difficult. Wholeheartedly recommended. One Last Game was published by Clemoes, which only produced a small number of Electron games before shutting up shop. No original cassettes seem to have survived, but fortunately the piracy rife in the school playgrounds has preserved some of their games. One Last Game is Space Invaders on its side. You move up and down and try and wipe out a whole platoon of space aliens. You score different points for shooting them whilst they're stationary or mid-flight. Some aliens, including the ones that look like the Acorn Electron tape recorders, can only be destroyed whilst in flight. The game's got an interesting use of sound and music. It uses a little tick-tock sound the Electron makes when turning the cassette relay on and off as a drum beat. Calling it One Last Game was meant to refer to its addictiveness, but actually I don't find it addictive. I think it's actually quite boring. It's frustrating and the collision detection's not great. Perhaps it was this one last game that sounded the death knell for Clemoes.